Okay, and we are live. Good evening, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your beloved host, Shorty. And yeah, double dose today because there's a lot out this weekend. Delivery was put back a day because of the bank holiday. So we're doing R.L. Stein's Stuff of Nightmares. This isn't the cover A. This is one that I just really quite like the look of, so I thought I'd grab it one in. And we've got a few others nice variants, and it sold out quite effectively. The last copy we've got left. And it should be a really big surprise to them because Boom Studios is doing really well. They have kept their premiere status with Previous World, whereas IDW still lost theirs. I think it's because they're concentrating on original IPs and supporting their talent really effectively and giving them a lot more creative control and hopefully paying them a lot of money too. Whereas IDW seem to have looked relying a lot on licensed projects and lost a lot of their licenses in a space of a few years. So I can see why they're struggling a little bit at the moment. Add to that the fact that it's R.L. Stein, it's a name that, or their name. I'm going to say he. I apologize if I'm wrong, but I've kind of always assumed that R.L. Stein's a dude. I am sorry if I'm wrong on that one. They're a name that just instantly speaks to horror. The Fear Street trilogy of movies that dropped on Netflix last year, the year before, genuinely loved them. Great bits of horror. And I've seen a few of the movies with R.L. Stein's name tagged onto them, but I have to be honest, I've never read any of the fiction. I don't remember reading any of it. When I was a kid, I read buttloads of books, including horror. But I got into reading saying adult books is kind of weird. I mean, Stephen King, Clive Barker. I was reading that when I was a kid, not really R.L. Stein. So who knows? And we're going to get to the R.L. Stein bit in a second, but we're going to talk about artwork first because it's really good and it's good in a way I wasn't expecting. The color palette straight away I thought was an odd choice. It's really light, kind of washed out, faded. In my head there, I was going to say as if seen through a fine mist or something. It's not quite that. It's more imagine a sterile environment with an overabundance of white light strip lighting. So everything just looks slightly less colorful because of the environment around it. And there are some reds and yellows and browns and blues, which, have a certain depth to them, but it all comes across that a little bit less, apart from the blacks. The inking, not the inking line work, which is amazing and immaculate, I absolutely love it, but the really deep shadows and negative spaces they put with them, they're really effective. I'm not sure what the intent for it was, but it's something I liked at the end of it. I really can't complain about it. Well, speaking of the artwork, great page layouts. Is the little trick I love when I see it, which is effectively one bit of artwork split into 3 panels, usually a cross with guttering between, which basically is just to denote that there is a time break between the conversation rather than you worrying if people are talking over each other. It's just a nice little thing that comic books do effectively. And when we do get to the action and the horror in this, it's done effectively. It looks great. It looks gory. It looks intense and it looks scary, which is kind of nice for just a comic book. The characterizations, the characters do really well in the way they hold themselves, the way they express themselves. Some great facial expressions. Watching somebody doubled over throwing up feels visceral and uncomfortable, considering what they're surrounded by when they're doing it. So many absolutely solid artistic choices in this comic book. And now I have to talk about R.L. Stein, and I'm sorry about this. Not a fan. I was talking earlier about the paneling. Yeah, brilliant. I really like it. The layout's fantastic. And even in terms of the visual storytelling, the pace of it's great. And I'd even go as far as to say I like the concept of this story. It has bad guys or villains who aren't necessarily evil. Misguided, maybe. Certainly verging on dangerously incompetent at times. Maybe even slightly malicious. But not in a way that I'd classify as evil. It makes them interesting. Makes me want to know actually what is going on, and they leave some unanswered questions here. The setup of a guy with a cabinet of curiosities, it feels like it's a portmanteau-esque kind of thing, which you know by now. Obviously, if you watch a lot of these reviews, you'll know I love that kind of thing. And the character is well designed. And brilliant idea for a framing device for the comic book. But I cannot just get over that it's badly written. And all the stuff I've talked about, that is part of the writing, it absolutely is. But the words on the page are not good. On numerous occasions, I have to go back a speech bubble or two and reread something to make sure the meaning was clear to me. And it's not like I expected elegance prose throughout this entire thing. There are a few people I do expect that from. R.L. Stein is one of them. But it just lacks competence. There is bits where it's just stuttering dialogue. And yeah, I suppose sometimes that might be a natural way of speaking, which I know I talk about sometimes as being a preferred way of writing. But it doesn't feel that way. It just feels bad. It feels like there hasn't been enough attention to it. There hasn't been a second run. I wish when people were writing dialogue, they'd take some time to stand there with a page in front of them and read it out loud and see what it sounds like. I mean, I know page reading for like actors and things like that might be a little bit gauche, but you are the actor in this. You should know what their voice will sound like, and how it sounds in people's heads matters. And he doesn't do a very good job of it, and it's disappointing. And I'm really annoyed because I really like Boom Studios and I wanted to love this one, but I didn't. But we've got some excellent horror, hopefully some excellent horror coming tomorrow, because we have Creepshow, which just started this week as well. So if you like horror comic books, come back tomorrow and I'll review at least that, if not something else. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.